Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I am your girl Kayon Aldria, you know that already. Today I am outside, we're at the park, and to be honest, I wasn't sure I was going to give you guys a video this weekend, this Sunday, because I have a lot going on, a lot of schoolwork. This week coming is my final week for this semester, and it's a lot of work, but promise is a promise, right? So I didn't have anything planned per se, so I'm just going to speak freely and just talk. In this video we're going to talk about express entry, PNP nominations, all of those things. Let's get into this video. Express entry. If you've been watching Canada immigration and Canada news, you would have seen that the government of Canada plans to resume fully for all categories, not only PNP nominations, but CEC class, federal skilled worker program, all programs in July. And we're almost there in June, right? We're almost there. And I know we are all excited. We can't wait because we're wondering, are they going to go very low? Are we going to see a repeat of what happened when they did that CEC class draw for 27, for a draw of 27? Well, I don't know. I'm wondering how low they are going to go. That's what everyone is wondering. But until then, we just have to wait and see, because I like to say, if you don't have a ticket, you don't stand a chance. If you're not in the pool, if you're not in the express entry pool, you do not stand a chance. And I like to encourage persons, even if you're here in Canada studying, you can go in the express entry pool once you are qualified, once you meet the requirements for any one of the categories. It can be PNP nominations, or it can even be federal skilled worker program. Like, for example, I am currently in the federal skilled worker program, and I was in PNP nominations. So I am in federal skilled worker program, right? So you can still enter once you're studying. If you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance. Let's talk about what happened recently also. I don't know if you heard, but in Nova Scotia, a lot of students who were in their PNP nominations, right, but previously the criteria for one of their pathways was, once you have work experience, you can be in the PNP thing. But a lot of students got kicked out because they did not graduate from a Nova Scotia school, because Nova Scotia decided to change that criteria for the pathway, saying, hey, you have to graduate from a Nova Scotia school to get this PNP nomination. And when I was reading that news, I felt it, because imagine, I know persons like myself, we go to maybe, you may be planning on going to Ontario, or you may be planning on going to British Columbia or wherever, and then you'll be like, oh, when I'm finished, I'm just going to go to Nova Scotia because it's easy, PNP nomination. If this little incident teach me anything, and I'm pointing it out to you guys too, it simply says it is getting harder to come to Canada. The pathways, they are changing. What seemed easy at once, or what seemed like, oh, not so hard, they are changing. It is changing. So you can't sit there and wondering, oh, should I do this, should I do that? The time to have made a decision on whether you should start this Canada journey was yesterday. Like that famous saying, the time to plant a tree was yesterday. So get started, find out what you are qualified for, and start the start the pathway, because for example federal skilled worker program, there are so many PNP nominations, there are so many criteria, there are so many pathways. I think Canada has over 100 different ways, and guys, everything is changing. Not only that, the timelines with this backlog, it's a lengthy one, so you want to get started. Not because things are changing means it's impossible. No, it just means you gotta be very smart and crafty with where you're going, and knowing your end goals and knowing how you're going to get there. So I like to say, when I was coming here for school, I tried to ensure that where I was going I had more than one option. So for me, I didn't want to just leave it to being qualified in the express entry only, right, by federal skilled worker or CEC. I also wanted to make sure that the province that I was going, they had PNP pathways that I would be qualified for, right? I took all of those things into consideration. Same way you're planning on coming to Canada, maybe you're like me, you were sitting in the express entry pool and you realize, hey, being outside of the country, this is going to take long, or this is not going to happen, because based on where they are drawing their scores from, you know, you decide, okay, let me use the school pathway. And if that's the case, then you have to be very strategic. You do not want to pick a province. You honestly do not want to pick a province that the only pathway you have is when you're finished, you are going to get the 1 year experience and do CEC. So CEC means Canadian Experience Class. You don't want to pick a province where at the end of the day that's your only option. No, you want to be, if you probably weren't qualified for FSW, which is Federal Skilled Worker Program, because you did not have any work experience in any type of professional knock, or the FST, Federal Skill Trade. If you don't have any experience in any trade that would qualify for FST, you need to ensure that you're picking somewhere that you at least will be qualified for PNP. You know, that's another way. That's a great way. The PNP pathway is not stressed a lot, but it is a great way, because once you get qualified with a provincial nomination program, that's 600 points. That certificate is 600 points on your points you'd already have in the express entry pool. So you want to think about that. You want to bear in mind that wherever you're going, you have options. Yeah. So for me, coming to British Columbia, I was already qualified for FSW, Federal Skilled Worker Program, and I know by the time I get this degree, work 1 year in a knock. Well, my husband is already working in a knock, so luckily for us, we will soon be qualified for CEC, which is Canadian Experience Class, but we are also already qualified for PNP here. So when I was picking, I was very strategic, you know, where I'm going. I was coming here because I wanted it to be, hey, as I reach Canada, I should be able to get PR, you know, create a pathway if I want it that quick. But yeah, so bear all of those things in mind. Do your research. I can't stress that enough, because even if I come on here and tell you some things, everybody's case is different. You need to at least know what you want, what you aim for. You have to be strategic with where you're going. You have to think about that. You have to be strategic, because it is not. Let me tell you, for example, when I started my Canadian journey, because it started way from back home and I started thinking about where to go, many persons were like, oh, it's easy to go to Canada, they want people. No, they're like, oh, Canada want people, Canada want educated persons like you and you. Yes, Canada wants educated persons, but a lot of persons also want to be in Canada. Educated people want to be in Canada. It's not like they want persons and persons don't want Canada. Persons want Canada too, so it becomes competitive. So you really have to be strategic, especially if you're at an older age. And when I say older age, I mean once you reach 30 and going on, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but you're at an older age. You have to be very strategic, because these younger persons like myself, we have work experience already in our codes. We are already setting up ourselves to get this nomination. So you have to be strategic. If you're 30 and older, your points start dropping by your age. Even 28, 27, your points start dropping by your age. Age is an important factor. And persons are coming here from high school. Persons are coming here to do bachelors. You have to be competitive. So that is why I say, wherever you're going, ensure you have a plan. Ensure it's more than one pathway. Ensure it's not just CEC. Because a lot of persons want to go to Ontario, but I'll tell you right now, if you can, look somewhere else. Ontario, their PNP pathway, first of all, you have to pay $1,500. You have to pay that money for the application alone. They call it EOI, expression of interest, right? Just to show them that you're interested, and you have to pay that money and let them see if they think they want you. You know what I mean? And if they decide they don't, you just pay that money. Meanwhile, you have other provinces like New Brunswick. Even recently, New Brunswick closed, put a pause on their PNP pathway, because they have an overwhelming amount of persons who are interested. Ding dong, save Nova Scotia making new criterias, right? New Brunswick put a pause on their thing. The only one left is Newfoundland, right? Of the AIP and PEI. I think that falls in the AIP. Ooh. Right? So the only two left are PEI and Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island. Right? And those are places where people really don't want to go because it's cold. But I'm going to tell you right now, start thinking about going to those places. Like for me, even being in BC, I would go to Newfoundland, or I would go to PEI. It's just that, because when I came on this journey, it's about finding me, giving myself the best life I can, giving my family that. And those places, if you see recently, Newfoundland was rated the #1 place in Canada where persons are very happy with their standard of living. Newfoundland. So why wouldn't I go? I hate the cold, don't get me wrong, I'm afraid of the cold, but if I came on this journey to Canada, I believe, since I've been here, oh my God, I feel like Superwoman. I can do anything. So yeah, think about that. It's getting, don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Canada is getting competitive. It is. And the time to start was yesterday. There are so many pathways here for different provinces. So before I go, let me tell you, British Columbia, if you're a nurse, if you're in healthcare, could be healthcare, it could be nurse aid, right? And nurse aid, by the way, all you need to become a nurse aid in Canada, in British Columbia, for example, all you need to be a nurse aid here is a certificate, like a 6-month program. That's all you need. And most of these schools that offer these programs for nursing aid, some of them, they are private schools. They are not DLI. They are not designated learning institutions. So when you're finished, you would not get that 1-year postgraduate work permit, right? So that's the thing. But I was thinking about it, right? I'm going to leave it here and you guys tell me what you think. You know, the law of Canada is that to get a student visa, you need to be in a program that is 6 months or more, right? 6 months or more. So if you're doing a program that's less than 6 months, which these nursing aid programs, I've been calling a few places, right? You can get in one, and if you're able to accelerate your program, you can finish it in less than 6 months. If you have a Canada visa, put it together. Are you getting what I'm saying? So the law is, if you have a regular Canadian visa, you can do short-term study programs, right? These nursing aid programs are less than 6 months, right? 6 months and lower. It can go on, it depends on which school you choose, right? So if you have a visa, you need to find out though, because I think some of the things in these programs, they do offer some practical experience where I am not sure if you're allowed to do that on a visa, on a tourist visa. So you would have to find out. I am not an immigration consultant, right? But say you're young, you maybe just finished school, maybe you're older too, you don't have the money that you want to start all over. But British Columbia have a nursing aid pathway, PNP nomination. Nova Scotia also have that pathway. Start finding schools that are 6 months or less, preferably less, right? For that nursing aid. Nursing aids, nursing help is needed so much in Canada, and you could be paying as low as $4,000, $3,000 for this pathway, for this program. And then you go back home maybe and try for the PNP pathway. Maybe after doing it, you get a job offer, because trust me, you will get a job offer for things like this because it's so in demand, right? And then you change your status now from a visitor status to something else. That's another way in Canada where you can change your status if you have a valid job offer. There are so many ways when it comes to immigration pathway that they are not advertised. And it's after being here and looking into things, I realize, wow, there are cheaper ways to do this. Find what's in demand. Because the minute you find the thing that's in demand, that's needed so badly, and you can get that thing, you'll get your way. But yeah, like I said, I'm not an immigration consultant. Not an immigration consultant, but I've been thinking, looking in things, because I know persons who are back home who would love to come on this journey. I know of another pathway that my friend was telling me about, the nanny pathway. So if Canada has this special nanny program. So if you can get someone who needs a nanny and they are willing to sponsor you, you would work as a nanny for them for 2 years. They would ensure that they pay your taxes and all of that the government requires. And after 2 years, you're on your way. You can get PR. There are so many pathways. But like I like to say, or like to put it, they might not be as easy as it sounds, because you have to know someone, and then being outside of the country and then to depend on someone like, what they call them, the job agencies to give you a job. Some of these persons are scammers, so you have to be careful. But do your research. That's why I say do your research. Even if you do that certificate or that nursing aid certificate or any certification, right? It would be a Canadian certification, right? Having a Canadian certification, you don't need to get that certified by West. That's a Canadian certification, so you can easily put it in your express entry pool, and that would add more points to your express entry program. So these little things. But a lot of immigration consultants, they will say, oh yes, you can do a certification. But when I was looking into that, a lot of these certifications, they were so expensive. I'm like, if I'm gonna pay for a certification that's so short in length, that's so expensive, I might as well go to school. So you have to look for yourself though. But I know for the nursing aids and things like that, they have some affordable prices. And even here in British Columbia, if you want to come to British Columbia, KPU has this nursing aid program that they have extend to a 1 year, right? So you could do that 1 year program, and after doing that 1 year program, you get a 1 year postgraduate work permit. Like I said, it's an in-demand field, right? So, but if you're not into nursing, please don't look there, because it's not for everybody. But yeah, food for thought. Yeah, I have school now, So it's hard for me to really research, or I really want to research and get the information and give it to you, so I can tell you what I researched based off of just looking through but not looking deep enough, and then I'm giving it to you so you can go and look deeper, because you have to be willing to meet me halfway, right? And I just told you 2 ways that you need to. If you don't have the money, you can start looking harder, looking into it. Be willing for this journey. You have to be prepared to do the work. All the best to you. If you're interested in any of these care aid programs or pathway, I think there are other YouTubers on YouTube who talk about these pathways. I think so, because the information is always out there just for you to go and look. Yeah, so all the best to you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Outside, the weather is lovely today. It's not hot, yeah, and it's just cool. It's not cold. So I am taking a break today. I'm at the park. I got this book. So excited to read this book, Tax-Free Savings and How TFSAs Can Make You Rich in Canada. I can't wait to read it and tell you all about it. Money, yo. I love money, so yeah. But anyways, see you in the next video. Bye.